So what I want to do in this video is take a look at a more recent approach to JavaScript development. It might look very different than what you're used to seeing. One big thing would be that uh, today's development would focus on what we call front-end development, a framework like React or Angular or Vue. And that I'm not going to use a framework today, but I will use technology that comes out of the Vue camp called Vite, which is a high-end development server with HMR, hot module replacement. It works in what's called an unbundled environment for fast builds, and then it will bundle up your solution later, almost like making an installer file to run on a web server using, I believe the product is Rollup. And it does tree shaking, a whole bunch of fancy things in that. But one of the premises that would empower this new way of doing JavaScript development would be that your backend's already built. So you already have the middleware built and it's ready to go. So I have a piece of middleware here in front of a database that I have. And so what it does is pretty focused and simple. If you have spatially enabled tables in the database, it will publish those as GeoJSON feature collections. That's why they're called collections. So these are some of the tables I have in my database. And that you can also create functions that query the tables, and they may or may not return geometry. If they don't return geometry, they will just send back raw JSON. So I have one that brings back park names and bounding boxes in that. And I'll go take a look. Now it has a little bit of a governor, or aka a limiter on this, just 10 sample rows. In that, but there's a switch you can put in to bring back everything. So I'm just going to copy this to the clipboard for future use. I'm going to go down and pop up VS Code because I should have it open already. Yes, but I'm in a blank folder. All right, nothing in it yet. Now, one thing I'm going to do, I've opened up a terminal window. I'm going to do I have Node? Right, so Node hyphen version. Whoops, version. So I have Node. The latest. Now, one thing is it may not have npx. If it doesn't, then you go npm I for install hyphen globally, never hurts, npx, and it will. That's a tool that I'm going to use here. This used to come stock, I think, with the 18, and so it may be parsed out of the 19, but it's easy enough to get. You just install it. So npm I, you can go I or the word install, and that to get the npx node executor package. And then I'm going to use it to run another tool, and that. So I'm going to say, hey, npx, let's run the create OpenLayers app, and that. And I'm going to use the template for the Vite development server. I think that should work. In that, each of these tools has different ways of doing command line arguments. I needed 2 hyphens. That's why, because I used a word. Okay, there we go. Double hyphen template Vite. So it's good to see a mistake. That's how easy you fix it, right? And so it's going to go out and download and run the create app, and then also do the Vite, we hope, and that. Okay, so that looks okay, we think, and that. Yes, Vite config. It's going to hang on a second. It's not quite releasing, so, but that's okay. What we can do now is, if your npm scripts is not showing up, click on your package JSON. Just click in here. It'll show up here. Turn it on. It's shown up down below, and then I'm going to start up the Vite server in that, and we'll see how long it takes. Shouldn't take. Okay, it's up. Okay, it usually starts a little faster. This might be the first time in that. Now, if you hit this just right, you can kind of get Chrome to pop. Maybe it'll pop on that one. Otherwise, just bring Chrome up yourself, and I'll go to a local host. In that, I should have that. I should pin Chrome actually on my start. I'll do that right now. Pin to start. I'll launch it, and I'm going to go to local host :5173, I think it said. There. Boom. There's my map. Now it's been up and waiting for me for a long time. in that. I might try to go side by side here, and that's, yeah, this might not work out the way I want. We'll see. But we'll give it a shot in that. Actually, I want park more like this. Yeah, we'll try that. I just want you to show you. So right now the style is actually going to cause me problems. So I'll go with height is equal to, see, I'm getting an error already, 800 pixels, because I'm right in the middle of typing stuff. And that width is 6. I might flip that around actually. I'll make width 800 pixels, and I will make height. You can see the map changing as I type. So that's that hot module replacement. So as I type, it's going to put do the updating. I'm going to go Alt Shift F just to clean up my formatting there. It's 2 spaces, but I'll leave it for now. I much prefer 4 in that. But you can see that as I was typing, it's any adjustments I do, it's reloading in the browser for me automatically, which is a nice feature. I'm going to go to my HTML, and I am going to put in a, this is the map div. Just above that, I'll put in a select in that, and I'll give the ID to the select as park select. Done. Whoop. Try to keep that as camel case. There we go. Park select. So the little flash you see is because I'm typing in the file saving, it has to reload what's in the browser for me. But the little drop down list is there. I'm not doing refreshing. That's what the HMR does in that. Now, a lot of the action going on is, how's all this happening? Well, the main culprit causing most of the work is this JavaScript file in the back here. I'll just shrink this down. That's the one that's doing the map in that. So the thing is, we'll do a little thing where maybe I try to get the park names into the drop-down list. I won't do the Zoom park because the demo will be too long. But I'll go in here, and I need to get the park select. So I can go const. I'll go. I'll call it park select is going to be equal to document dot get element by ID. That's what I'm looking for. And who do I want to get? I want to get that thing I called park select. Now, what I say, again, that should be a small e. I'm on a different laptop right now, so where everything is driving me a little bit crazy. So you need this name to match exactly what the ID is in here. Be worth it just to copy this, in all honesty, right? So you don't have a little typo driving you mad while you're trying to develop that. And so there, put a little semicolon in that. So I need to get reference to my park select. I'm going to have a little thing called fetch data. So I'm going to have a little function called, well, I'll make the function first and then call it function, and that fetch data. And that I will call fetch data right up here. Again, the keyboard is driving me a little batty. That's okay. There. And that. Again, get my semicolons in. Should be good to go. So what do I want to do in here? Really good question. I want to do a fetch. So I'm going to go do a fetch. So a fetch is something that's built into the browser or into the Emacs spec in that. So I'm going to do a fetch. And what do I want to fetch? I want to fetch the data that's on that site in that. So I need to get, it was VM103, so I'll go there. VM, okay. Let's pick it out of the list in that. And I want to get the data out of this function in that. And it's this function right here, this JSON. So I need this link, whatever's up there, Control A, Control Copy. That's what I put into the fetch. And I'll say, hey, go get that data. I'll put the address in. There we go. Big, long URL in that. Now, one thing is I'm going to go to the end of the line, right? And I'm going to go drop down and go dot then. This is technically all one line, dot then. Now, go get the data. That will cause a response object to come back. I'm going to go lowercase, res, I'll call it. And when it comes back, I want res to turn this text into JSON and that. And then the question would be, well, what do you want to do then? Well, after it gets turned to JSON, then I will throw it into a function. So, and the thing is, the big thing here is over on this side, this is text. Once it goes through this res.json, it will be an actual JavaScript object. So I think I will call it data as obj or something like that. Yeah, data as an object, so that I know that, oh yeah, it's already been turned to an object. That's what that function does. And I'm going to have a function called, this is fetch data. I'm going to call one, make up a function on the fly here called load data. And there's load data. Now it doesn't exist yet. I will go put it right here. Function load data. There it is. And it is going to need, it's going to have this data coming into it. So data as object. I'll give it the same name. It doesn't have to be the same name. You can rename it if you want, but I'm going to keep it as data as object. And that. So again, they don't have to match at this point. And probably what I'll do is I'll go console.log. A better thing would be to do a dir, and I will say data's object. Now, if Vete's been busy, right? Oh, here's another thing. What if this doesn't work? I need to catch the error, and maybe I'll call it, you can call it anything, bubbles if you wanted to at this point. I need you to console.log out the error to, I got an extra one in there. Ooh, I went backwards. There we go. Log out the error to the console in that. Now again, this fetch .then.catch is technically just one line in that. I should actually go check, right? This has been busy. Every time I was typing this, do an update. Let's go inspect to see if I have any errors in the console in that. Yeah, kind of okay on the console part in that. There's a console drawer around, high console drawer. It should be right here on the bottom. Ooh, there it is right here. And that. I'll close that. DevTools failed source, could not find. I'm not worried about any of that. I have an array of 10. Oh, look at that. It came over. So all this data already came back to my browser. It's working. We like that. Nothing wrong with things working. And so that is coming back. I'll leave it there. I'll leave that there for now. And so what would I want to do? Right? It's a really good question. I have a little for loop in that. So for var, it's going to be a park. It has to be of data's object. So that array of objects is like has a bunch of park information in there. And so for every park, I'm going to create an option. So I'll go var tmp opt for option is going to equal to document dot create element. I'm looking for create element. There it is. Create element. What kind of element do you want to create? I want to create an HTML option element. So, oh, it even knows I want to put it there. Pick it off the list whenever you can. That's what I would say. Yeah, don't want any typos. So create a little option, and I will set the tmp option dot text to whatever park underscore name. Now, how do I know it's park underscore name? Really good question. So I'm going to Control A, Control copy. I'm going to make a quick file here just called park.json, right? And I'll paste this in here. All right, it's not really readable right now. Alt Shift F there to reformat the object. So this is what actually came over a little bit more readable. Is I have an array of a bunch of objects, and then there is a link, a park name, and a bounding box. So I'm going to take that park name. So you would have to go over and look at your JSON and say, well, how's it organized? And so I'll go back into my code, And so I have that option, and would it be enough right now to just say, this is always the fun part with IntelliSense, park select dot. I find I have to go options, and then hit the space bar, then back up and put the dot in. It's really funny. Otherwise, IntelliSense always adds something really strange for me. Temp option, right? And maybe a semicolon there. Now the thing is, this has been busy, we think, and that. Ooh, I have a nice little error. Oh, it's not a function. What did I do? Oh, that's right. It's not a function. It is a property, so it's just supposed to be equal. This is not the first time this has happened to me. And that it should be like that. Look at this drop down list already working in that. And so, should we get fancy or not? How are we doing for time? I'm not sure. I'm going to keep going just so you can see what this feels like. Another thing that right now, I'm just setting the drop down list value. If we went and looked into the head, if I make this a little bit bigger, oh, almost had it there. We have the select right here. All that's really in there is option with the text. We don't have a value in the background. So what I'm going to do is go, before I add it actually, I will go temp.value is equal to JSON.stringify the park, right? I can only put one thing in as the value. What I'm going to put in is a really big string in that park, right? Now if I actually go back here and take a look, well, what did it do? Besides the park name and that, which is right about here, Adams Lake Marine Park, I embedded all the park information as well. So happy with that. One thing I would need to do is to have like a little zoom function. So I'm going to call zoom park and that, and hopefully it doesn't make anyone too upset. But I'm going to go up here right after I got my park select, and I'm going to go park select dot on. Wait, almost got it. On change. I see it right there. On change is going to equal to my zoom. Zoom park. Right there. Done. Now, what I want to do, I will, a little trick would be when I when I do this line on 7, it's like taking my function and stuffing it inside the drop-down list. And so I can actually go var the park in this case is going to be, oh, almost had it. The park is going to equal to JSON dot parse this dot value. So this, who's this? It's going to be the select. That's where I stuff the function. Value would be the currently selected item in the list or in the select. In that, I can then make an extent var extent. Doesn't have to be called extent. It could be called anything. It has to be a JavaScript array of 4 values. And so here it's going to be the park, yes, dot park underscore xmin. How would I know that? That's my JSON. I can just get this keyboard figured out. So that's your park JSON. I'm trying to get this. Now the way this is a type def that exists in the OpenLayers library. So an extent is just a JavaScript array with 4 Control Z, with 4 values in it, right? Those being numbers. Control copy, and it's in xmin, ymin, xmax, ymax order, which kind of makes sense, but you never know. Always check the docs in that. So this would have been ymin. This would be xmax. This will be ymax. If you're going to make a mistake, this is probably where it's going to happen. Ooh, double up on my commas here. I think I'm having a fight with the zoom park is not defined. Ooh, because I didn't put function in front of it. I agree. All right, boom, error's gone. Right, that's a nice thing. Is it's running my code as I speak or as I type, which is kind of interesting. I was going to go end and then enter. That. And so what I need to do is go map dot get view. Oh, I even found it. Dot fit, and it will be fit what? The extent I just made, I think. Yes. Oh, extent. Do I want to change the name? I think so. The park, the extent, and I'll say fit the extent. Now I'm not going to know if this actually works. I'm just going to check to see if I got a semicolon on the end there. I don't. Put one in there. I'm not going to know if this actually works unless I actually click one of these things in that. Oh no. Where could I be? I'm going to be at the Gulf of Guinea. I will almost guarantee it in that. So I'm just going to I'm trying to scroll back. Here we go. Where am I? I'm over by Africa. I know it. Or maybe not. Oh, I am. No, makes sense. Total sense. Look at this little message I got here. Hey, use geographic. Because it's what it saw. It saw me send lat longs. Now, the way it works in OpenLayer is the first layer in the map sets the projection, so it would be 3857, but then it plotted the lat long values as raw Web Mercator coordinates. So I'm going to go import, but this is the nice thing here. I'm going to go find use geographic. Actually, I don't even need to do that. I think I'm going to back it up. This is a fancy thing. Use, right? It found it. Look, found it there. And it put that formatting in there, little curly braces in that. So now I have it. Now that, Control Z. That is getting the firecracker. You got to light that thing and actually go use geographic, put parentheses on it. Now it's running, right? So what that really means, I call it, hey, and let's go into leaflet mode. To get OpenLayers to use leaflet mode happening in that. And now what happens when I pick a park? Ooh la la, look at that. Zooming to the box of it. Right now, the thing is, what about the rest of the parks, right? And that, how would I get those in? Well, that's where you got to take that limiter off this one. So I'm going to go to the end of this and actually go. I do believe it would be question mark. We'll try it. Question mark and limit. Why is it limit? Because that's what you would say in the database. Limit is equal to -1 is the secret little switch to say don't put a limit on it. In that, hey, look, you came back. Oh, my list is huge. Look at that. It's massive in that. Let's go to Valhalla. Where are you? Let's type in a V. There you are. Boom. Yes. Now I'm like, now how many parks came across? Probably like 900. It'll be in the console somewhere because we're still doing that, printing out the object to the, there it is. 929 parks came across with their names and their bounding boxes. In that, it's all the parks for the province, parks and protected areas. In that, we're pretty close to it. I even sorted it in alphabetical order in the database. Good on me. In that, Alice Lake. There we go. So I mean, but that's the more recent developer experience. If you use Vite and you're in this unbundled environment, is doing the Emacs6 imports for you. This technically is 100% impossible in the browser, just so you know, in that. So that actually is not even possible, but I think it's the hint from the Vue crew to say, you know what, JavaScript committee who write the Emacs spec, we should be able to import style sheets this way. In reality, if I run this build and it's successful, it'll make a little distribution folder, and we'll go take a look. They translate it into a link for you. So it's doing the tree shaking and all that stuff. You'd be surprised at how small the package is in the end. It's this distribution folder. So it takes whatever I was writing and then writes it into an index HTML file that links into cascading style sheets. And then the assets would be the style sheet and your JavaScript in that. So it takes all that JavaScript I have there and condenses it into those files and that. So the idea is that you work in an environment where you're allowed, like a different part of the multiverse where you're allowed to do this, which would never work in a browser. And when you're done, they'll translate it on the fly for you into the links and the script tags and that. But this is sort of what it looks like, right? That gets me a map that can, it gets me an app that can go to my backend, pull the JSON, populate the drop-down list, hook up the on-change, and then be zooming to the bounding box of the park. in that. And it's really up to like what do you want your app to do and how do you want to set your data up in the back end to actually have that experience where, okay, I can be in Vite. It can do the 8 hot module replacement as I'm typing. I can sit there and test it unbundled. And then when I'm ready, like to send out like an alpha beta version, I can build it, grab that asset folder and drop it basically onto any web server, and away we go. So that's all I wanted to show you is what that kind of looks like today. So that's all for now.